All right. Happy Monday morning. I had to restart my computer, so I'm a few minutes late getting here. But it's 9:13 on April 13th, and looks like I missed a trade here. Yeah, for sure. Given the 920 EMA Cross strategy, we certainly have missed a trade, but there are more opportunities coming. All right. All right, 9:15. Let's get started here. So my session bias here, for those just joining me, this is the on my chart. I've got the S&P 500. We've got the on the left side we have the 5 minute, and on the right side the 1 minute. And we had good trades, yeah, last night on the Asia session. I was live on that. If you did not join us, but before we do that, since the market opens in a few minutes, I want to show you my pre-market prep of what I do. I like to identify, tops, bottoms, some ranges, some significant ranges before I make any kind of determination. My bias will be there, but the actual strategy will dictate my action. I don't let my bias deter me from clicking buttons and making a good trade. So the New York high on Friday was 68.89. I put the time that just kind of helps me. The New York low was 68.46. And then last night we had a huge gap down to 67.67. So we got a pretty wide range today from yesterday. So let's go back to the here's the gap down. Here was the Asia session opened yesterday. Originally, I went this gap down and I went short at 67.93 and it took 20 points out on that originally. Then I shorted again. It went against me. I lost 5 points. But then I went back in long and I took 10 points out. So, I mean, we had a winning strategy last night. And I was too eager on the second short. I thought we were going to continue to go down, but that's it. That's trading. If it, I do not let them go against me forever. I get out and I'll take my lumps. So and I recommend that you do as well. So my bias is bullish, and I'll explain that to you. And gap fill, I think that we're going to fill that a portion of that gap. So I think the New York low 68.46 may act as some resistance. You can see here from early. If I would have been at the computer here, I could have been in this trade. This is the 1 minute chart here. This would have been a nice trade, even if we got in 68.11. You know, we're up 15, 20 points if we would have gotten in here early. That's a nice trade. But I mean, it's a nice way to start off the day pre-market if you can get a big win and then lock in your stops and see what's going to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen on the market open, but I do believe that we are going, let me go to here, let me go to 15 minutes. I do believe that we're going to fill a good portion of this gap. Friday closed at 68, 63, somewhere in that range. And we had the huge gap down on the open. And this gap down was significant. This gap down, let's say 68, 63-ish. Yeah, that was a 93, 94 point gap. That's for Asian session gap down. That's nearly 100 points is pretty significant as far as a gap down. And I think we're going to probably come back and fill majority of it. I think we'll fill it all unless some kind of other news. It looks like the market is kind of numb to whatever Trump and whatever's happening in Iran. And I could be wrong. Again, this is just my initial bias of what I think. And again, I do not let my bias dictate the trade. So I should have been in here earlier based on the 920 EMA Cross, guys. And even this is the 5 minute. And if you're a new trader, I suggest you go and you stay with the 5 minute. But on this cross here, 68.15, we should have been in. Now I'm going to get back in after the open because it goes wild bucking bronc. I kind of wait to see where the market's going to settle a little bit. But this is a pretty, on the 1 minute chart, you can see this is a pretty good run up. And even here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So the last 40 minutes, if we had gotten in at 68, 15, 16, something like that, we'd be up, 10, 12 points. You can hear my cat in the background. I'm not killing him. I don't know what his deal is. His name, I have two cats, Toast and Bacon. And Toast, for some reason, is becoming a grumpy old man and feels he just needs to scream throughout the house. And I don't know why he's doing that. So anyway, this is my bias. I think we're gonna fill that gap. And now whether we go all the way back up and fill the gap to, the high, or back to 68, we'll see. I don't know. There's gonna depend on some news and what comes out in some of our catalyst. Now I may kill the cat in a minute, guys. So sorry, I don't want to kill him live on YouTube, but the meowing and he's just sitting there. Okay. Any of these retraces back to the 20 would have been nice entries here. Even you get 68.22. If this thing comes back near this 20, I'm probably going to get in. Let's see what the open is going to be. This is a strategy of patience. Okay, I just want to be clear on that. The 920 is a strategy of patience. It's a good strategy, but you've got to be patient. So good, like on this one, if you're looking at this chart here on the 5 minute, we would have been in at if you had on the first minute close, let's say you got a 68.17, that would have been a good entry right there, and you'd already be up, 10 plus points. If we get some questions on here, I'll share with you my rules. And in the comments below, if you want to drop me an email, I will send to you my PDF that shows all of my rules and all the nuances of the of how I trade this strategy. It's for free. There's nothing. All right. If you're just, oh yeah, look, this thing wants to go. I think this thing wants to go, and we're going to see what happens on the open. Last night, let's talk about last night before we've got, 6 minutes before the market opens here. And I do not like to chase, and I don't think anyone should chase. And especially if you're coming at 6 minutes before the market open, I would strongly recommend that you do not chase. And I tell you, this used to break my heart when I would see crosses like this and I miss them. But there's always going to be another trade. We got in this thing this morning. Let's say it crossed and we got in here at 68.11. That's been a nice trade already. Nearly 20 points. Looks like it's yeah. We're already heading up to a 20-point trade if you'd have been in. But I don't look back, I look forward. We can't do anything about what we missed. I think we're going to get some trending. I think we're going to get some whipsaw, but I do think the market will trend. I'm eager to see what's going to happen here at the if this is going to act as some resistance. The low, the Friday low. I can tell you one thing that was last night when this gap down came, when this thing boomed down. After 1 minute, I clicked short instantly, just for a couple contracts, and then it just kind of jammed sideways, went down a little bit, gave me 20, and I got out, which was which is nice. But it looks like this thing wants to go back. Part of my prepping, some people ask me about tools that I use. So tools. So I've only got my indicators. I've only got 4. You got the 9 EMA, you got the 20 EMA, you got the VWAP, and we have the CCI, which is at the bottom, which is like the, just think RSI if you're no trading, but I think the CCI moves faster, so it's more sniper entry for me. And that's simply showing, this is the bottom here, showing overbought and oversold. That's the only indicators I use. I keep it real simple. The other tool that I do use besides the indicators, and I strongly recommend, and I'm not affiliated with them, I don't get anything from this, is the Financial Juice. And this is a squawk box. And if you have not, I've used squawk boxes in the past. Well, let me tell you why this is so powerful. I've gone into other trading rooms and I listen to other bias of guys that are not exactly trading my strategy. And I've let that bias kind of influence me of where I do or do not make a trade, or I'm slow to click the button to get in or to get out. And I stopped doing that. And what I did is I always felt like there's some kind of news going to hit somewhere and how many sites I'm going to have open. This is very, very cool service here. So I've got it streaming here. This guy will talk to me. It's a live dude at the desk. If anything significant comes up, you're going to hear him talk during the video. But if anything significant happens, I mean, they're talking about Iran's ambassador to India, blah, blah, blah. Anything that's really important, though, will get read, and he'll post it. if Trump posts a tweet, if something happens, he's going to tell you what's going on. This tick strike, when the market opens here in 2 minutes, it'll, when it's ripping up and ripping down, after it settles down, if there's significant moves, you'll hear this guy going, "Hey, market's going, S&P's going up, but I don't know what it is." And then let me check, and then he'll get back to you like in a minute, going, "Okay, it's going up because of this. It's going down because of this." So any significant news will be alerted by that. So now that's kind of, besides talking to a bunch of strangers on YouTube, kind of my, that guy talking to me and just keeping the filter clean. I've got it on the same screen as my trading, so you guys, so I can flip back and forth. But typically, I keep it on the screen. So if any of the red dot, any of the red news comes up, no, all your red folder news, CPIs, Powell speaking, any big releases of housing, any reports will be on that as well. So I've got all of my news is one spot, and then this guy will verbally tell you, if something was good, something was bad. So, but let's get ready for the open. How I have my setup done, guys. I've got multiple screens, so I've got my broker on other screen. You guys are looking at the trading view, and I use the trading view with my data as my driver. I also have the same charts on, my brokers that I have up. So. Oh yeah, hey Blaine, what's going on? Yeah, originally I thought we would go lower too. I got out of that short, and then I flipped and got into a long, and I took some points out of that. But yeah, I think the market is so numb to all the threats and Trump's making and everything. It's just, I don't know. So yeah, it wants to go up. Look at this, guys. Blew right through that, right through the low. Yeah, it wants to fill that gap as my bullish, my sentiment over here. As I said, I was bullish, and but I wasn't in it. So we'll see. I know it breaks my heart when it goes without me, but so some of the good signs here, both the 5 minute is really one of your bigger indicators. Once I'm in a trade, I use the 5 to monitor it. But for the New York session, for this kind of activity here, this is very mild. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to lose some steam here. Maybe we pierce through and we're going to go shorter. I don't know. I don't have a real feel on how this is going to work as of yet. And that's why we kind of wait for the smoke to clear in the first couple minutes. But typically, you'll see a much bigger spike than this. I mean, we got what, 68.40. Yeah, it's only what? Man, that's not even a 6-7 point move on the open. That's as my kids would say, that's sus. I think this might be a quick short here coming out, but not with the 9 EMA strategy, just on a quick reversal strategy. But I'm gonna wait. The CCI is we're at 179 on the 5, 145, so it's a little over bought, but not. This thing can rip up to 300-400 on the CCI, and that's kind of why I like it for sniper. I don't know what this wants to do. We're not getting any news. Let me make sure my
voice news disconnected.
Let me make sure my guy's connected here. Now we're streaming.
US Treasury yields turn higher, with the 10-year yield last slightly up at 4.32%.
Yeah, it looks like with lack of push there, it doesn't look like we're gonna have any momentum going up as I figured. I thought we'd be bullish, but I also said the looking at the Friday's low at 68.46 maybe act as some resistance, but let's give it some time to see what happens. Via the strategy, we could have got in on this bounce, close to the 9 here up to 5. Um, we shall see. Well, looks like it wants to go. This early in the market, and here's the fear that I have. Like, especially you go, I like if I'm not in a trade, if I'm in a winning trade pre-market.
Speaking on Pakistani PM, currently speaking on Pakistan TV, says we are working to resolve some outstanding issues between America and Iran.
Okay, I don't know if you heard that. It says the Pakistani guys are still trying to work out the issues and negotiate. But that just only creates continued indecisiveness. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's going to be what's happening with the war. If there's any big announcements of progress, it wants to go back up and fill that gap. But man, there's just so much indecisiveness here. Now here's from the strategy and things I've learned, guys, in the past here. You see, we're getting a big red bar here, but the on the 1 minute here, the 9 is not crossed the 20. And even though you can get some bigger wins if you hit them right, I really like to wait for confirmation for this to cross because you can get this, and then it can turn back up. So the 1 minute it's kind of give you a good lead. You say, how long do I trade in the morning? Typically, yeah, it depends. Usually a couple hours. Depends. Um, Depends on how I do. Like last night, we had a pretty good win, and Monday typically you don't have all this super wild news and things going on. So this is if I hit my wins and I'm in and out by 11 or 12. Sometimes if I'm in a grind up or a grind down, and it's the market is, just grinding in my direction, I'll do other work at the computer. I'll set my stops and targets and just walk away and leave. I don't need to sit here with my finger on the trigger, and I don't do that. So bouncing off the 9, I'm going to stick with my strategy. I'm taking one small contract off the off this bounce. This is more of a
ECB's Vucic says energy prices show that we are currently closest to ECB basic scenario.
it's a fairly risky play. But based on the strategy, if this is going to continue back up, I would like to see this come closer back down to the 20 to get back in. But so we're in at, hold on, let me look at my, we're in at 68.28. 68.28. So I'm at 68.28.50. And as I always do, I set my stop to set to 10. And we'll set our target to, this is 20-ish, this range here. So based on the strategy, you guys can see here, I'm in. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. I'm not, well, it's early in the market here. And what I'll do is I'll build. If this goes in my direction, and it really goes in my direction, I will build on this position. Now, here's another thing. I set my 10 points, which is down here, but I do not need to wait for this to come all the way down through this 20
Intel shares rise
for me to get out of a trade. And that's what I recommend to you guys. This is where capital preservation is going to be your number one thing. If you get into a trade based on the strategy and it's not working, and the 1 minute can tell us a lot. If we come back down here and it blows through this 68 our entry, then then we don't want to be in it. I mean, this is just, we can get in again. I think if we just get this continue, they're working on it, they're getting close, or something's happening. This guy's talking to this guy. What time is it in? What time is it in Iran? So it's 5:11 p.m. in Iran. Excuse me. So for those of you talking, want to know about my what I was thinking about this entry is we're on an uptrend here. This is risky because I still think this New York low could act as some resistance here, but I follow the strategy. Well, we had a retrace back down here to the 9. I would like to have seen it come further back, but I got in at 68.28, and we think if we're going to continue higher, then we're following the trend. We're staying in it, and we're in a little bit profit now, not much, but. And here's my other rule. Once it gets to 10 points in my favor, so we get to 68.38, I move my stop to break even a couple points up, where I do not take a loss if I get up 10 points. We get some wild whipsaw cowboy action, something comes in and takes me out, then it takes me out, but it takes me out for profit. So protecting my capital is what I do. I do not feel great. This is, I would consider this a B setup or B minus setup, because I'm not thrilled of us at that New York low, that 68.46. If we get through that 68.46, I may add to this, and I will only add to winners. I know there's some big traders out there that will continue. They've got huge accounts, so they can continue to add the losers until they lower their cost of entry, so they can get out alive and on break evens. And I know guys who do that. That's not me. I'm not. I think that's especially if you got a small account, that's not going to be a winning strategy. I like to see us here get through this 68.46. If we get through that, then I would feel much better about the trade. Someone messaged me, asked me why do I think this is the B setup, because I don't like this. I don't like this reject. I think this is a rejection zone. That's why this is a B setup, even though we're in our strategy here. But it's coming back to our, right to our entry, close to our entry. But based on the model, based on the EMA, this is, if this 9 EMA on the 5-minute really starts to curl down hard, then I'll just get out, and then we'll get in again. We'll, live to fight another day. But if this stays here and just kind of flattens out, and then we get some momentum back here, this 68.38 is, to me, is acting like some resistance here. So that's why I'm not thrilled with this trade right now. But it looks like that wants to come down. If that wants to come down, I will get out and we'll re-enter on another entry. So this is where I've learned, guys, that I'm not emotional about this stuff. If it goes against me, then I get out. There's always going to be another trade. Yeah, I don't like the look of this at all on either chart, but we're still hovering right near our break even, so we don't panic. I don't panic. And that's the other thing that I've really learned over the trading is I'm not emotional anymore. It just, we get in the trade. Once you click the button, you can't worry about it. It's a B setup. I went with smaller size. Size management is going to be another thing that I've really worked on, that for you to be successful in trading, and there's a lot of big traders that I've studied. If you've not watched videos from S&B Capital, those guys have some top shelf content. There's a couple of other guys that trade the 9. They don't use the 20. They just use the 9. It's in essence the same strategy I use, but they talk about on their A+ setups, they size up huge. I will go multiple contracts on an A setup. Now, what would this have been if this would have been an A setup? I would have gone with bigger size. I think, looking now at the market, we're 17 minutes into the open here. It's good that it's holding here. We're kind of basing here. I think we can still go higher, but this resistance here, and there's so much uncertainty. I don't know, maybe it's gonna be a slow. It's gonna be a slow market, and that's fine. It is what it is. Some days are good. Some days go fast. Some days are slower. But anyway, talking about your A+ setups, you get an A+ setup, then those guys, if their traders don't max risk on the A+ setups, they get in trouble there. So they're pretty passionate about that. Now that they're trading with their company's capital, so they're not trading with their own, So, all right, looks like if we can get through that 68.46. I like this and may add to it. We'll see. But we've got to get through that strong. This is, look at this 1 minute. It's just a train wreck. All right. Oh, bam. There we go. There we go. Okay. When we're right, huh? Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Looking good, Lucy. Looking good, guys. Hey, boom goes the dynamite. We are rolling. Wow, I love it. Look at that. Look at that candle, guys. Boom. It's going right through. I blew through that thing.
In 10 minutes time now, at the top of the hour, we are expecting the US home sales data for March, forecast of 4.05 million on the prior 4.09 million, with a range of 4.14 to 3.89 million expected. The change forecast of minus 0.7% from the prior 1.7%.
Now this is a good trade, guys. I'm glad you guys are being able to see this live of our strategy blowing up here. We are just, I've moved my stop or my target up.
The same for the New York Post, Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a US condition for ending the war. So again, New York Post reporting that Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a US condition for ending the war.
All right, guys. 920 EMA in the works. I just hit my target up there, boom, and I took it. I moved back down. I'm not giving that back. So we had a good. We got in, we got out.
But again, Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a U.S. condition for ending the war, according to the New York Post.
So we took 24 points out of that. So we were in at 68.28. Let me confirm that, guys. 68.28. Yeah, so we got 22 points out of it. I took 68.50, so 68.28. So we took 22 points. We're in the trade for 12 minutes, and it looks like it's retracing. And this is where I'll take 20 points all day long. You can take my 20 points and get me in, get me out. I'm okay with that. I think this may be another opportunity for a retracing it back in later, but let's just look at this now. Because I traded only one contract, I had to get out. If I had two contracts, I would have left one in. But because I didn't think this was a setup, yeah, nice win. Yeah, it was a nice win, Blaine. So the strategy works, guys. I mean, but you got to click the buttons.
Issues at the moment due to increased traffic.
And even though
Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a U.S. condition for ending the war, according to the New York Post.
Huh, that's interesting. So they're saying that they're, I don't know if you heard that. What they're saying is that the Iranians are considering banning uranium enrichment. That seems like an easy one to me, but so yeah, so we popped our target there. So let's put the trade up here so people can see what we did. We're long 68.28, sold 68.50, 22-point win. I like to put the what I'm doing on the screen. I think I talked about this before.
Disconnected.
Oh, I got my voice got disconnected. Let's launch him again. So yeah, if I had multiple contracts, I'd still be in this thing, and we'd still be up really big. So I think there's another opportunity again. I think it wants to fill this.
Voice news disconnected.
Uh-oh, why is my voice news keep getting disconnected? Hey, if I'm not talking to you guys, it's the only company that I have. All right, so let's take this off. I always put this up there. I want to be transparent, you guys, to see when I make a trade and how the trade works out. And I think there's a lot of people who do that and are honest with that. And I think that those are good ones that you can learn the most from. I used to watch a couple guys who traded. They traded live, but they just trade a different strategy than me, and I just don't have. I just don't have the. If we're not trading like-minded, or if I'm not looking at this one simple strategy, which is what I like to do. This is just me. You can be successful trading, people. I mean, I know that a lot of people think that you can, or it's not gambling. It's just it's all probability, and you have to get in with. You'll have to start trading with more size if you want to make some money. But I can tell you, I set goals, small goals of, start with setting a goal of, $50 a day.
Voice news disconnected.
Then, then go to $100 a day, and then 200 a day. If you can do $200 a day, that'll pay for a lot of people's living and bills. That means you're going to have some $300 days, and some $400 days, and some losing days, and 50 days. But if you average, $200 a day, that's $4,000 a month. And if you trade, 2 sessions,
Voice news disconnected.
and if you have a day job, then you can trade the Asia session, which to me is, I know it may sound like a broken record, but I think it's the best session for newbies because it does not move. Today we're not moving very fast for the New York session. Yeah, you see here in big red at the top, it says New York Post, Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a U.S. condition for ending the war. That seems like the biggest problem that the U.S. has with this whole negotiation. Let me log out of there and then log back in. Financial juice. Looks like my internet's running pretty slow. Yeah, it looks like this thing wants to go back up, guys. I have no regrets of taking 22 points out of the market. The only regret I have is I didn't have multiple contracts to keep one in. But Yeah, yeah, $200 a day is life changing. I mean, and if people can do that, and I always tell my when I tell my sons, I'm like, our some of our good contractors make $25 an hour here in my town where I live here in the Midwest. So $25 an hour. So I said they work their butts off to make $200 a day, and they work hard and they're talented and they're skilled and they're valuable and the world needs that. I said, but if you can learn a skill that where you can do that wherever you are in the world, then you're not trading, you're just trading your time for money. I am trading time for money. I'm at the desk here. I have a walking desk. I'll elevate the desk and get some exercise in. But you can become a potato here doing this. If you know, look at this thing going right back there. Boom goes the dynamite. Oh, look at that thing's ripping now. Holy monkey sticks. This candle, this 5 minute candle went so fast. I felt like it left without me. And I told you guys I was gonna add, but I was chit chatting and talking. This first pop on this 1 minute is when I should have added, but I didn't. And again, that's trade management, guys. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal if you want to have, but those small things, the difference in you having a significant P&L, and the best traders that I've seen, they're they're ninja like at that, of getting of their management and letting their winners run. So typically I would have had a minimum of two contracts if that was not a B minus setup. In my opinion, B minus. Now it looks like it's a super triple A plus, but you can't look at things that way. So 68, 61. I had this session bias mix. Hold on a second. I got a call from it. What's up, Si? No. What do you need? For what? For which unit? Oh, not good. Okay. Is that something you can get and then I just reimburse you or no? How much is it? I don't know. Well, check it out and then let me know and just drop me a text and then I'll get back to you. All right, brother. Appreciate you. Oh, so you guys had strong wind there, huh? Yeah. It blew last night while we had the rain and storming, but it was for a real short period. It didn't wasn't real long. Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Drop me a text. Let me know, brother. All right. Take care, boy. All right. Sorry about that. Take the phone call. So yeah. All right. We're coming back here. See if we get my voice news and everything going back up here. Okay, now we're streaming. I don't have all the previous information. What's going on there? Let's refresh it again and see. There we go. All right. This financial juice is so cool. You see, they make sure you see everything. Big red bold writing up here. New York Post officials are studying banning uranium. And I think when we got that news was at 9:53. Does that correlate to our blast off? Let's see. Kind of that's when the news probably came out at 9:49. We got some good news and it blasted. 9:53. Yeah, probably. The market's starving for anything. It wants to just give a glimmer of hope so we can.
Nasdaq reverses course, last up 0.2%.
This tick strike is designed just with the S&P, the euro, and oil. And since it's perfect for me since all I trade is the S&P, so that's beautiful. But that is really irritating when it's kind of that. So listening to that is pretty irritating. The other thing I really like about this financial juice is it'll post when you get what they consider good news or bad news. It'll post what the dollar, the S&P, and crude is doing. Like, bam, it gives you like a quick snapshot. Here's where it was ripped. Here's where it was dumped. Here's where it was dumped. It gives you. It just this is one location. I know I sound like a salesman for this thing, but it's it's really a very cool tool. So let's look at. So to fill that gap, 68.63 was the close on the New York Open. So yeah, we've pretty much have filled that whole thing. I mean 68.63 is we're back at the Open. Now the high, the New York high, the pre-market high on Friday was 68.89. Do we get back to that? I don't know. I can delete that. That was my bias as of. Oh my goodness, let me get rid of that. That's gonna drive everyone crazy. So we definitely get back to we're filling the gap. 68.63 is the gap. 68, another 20, another 25 points to get to the New York pre-market high from Friday. Is that a possibility? And then maybe look for a rejection from there. I'm not sure. But based on the 920, if you guys did not get in, the strategy works, guys. Now, if we're getting some weakness here, here's where I will take some flyers. When we've got, oh, I want the one over here. I keep the one on the left side, and then if I'm looking at higher time frames, I always use the left screen. But looking at the 5 minute, and if you guys are just joining us, we've already taken a long. We took 22 points out of the market. We got it at 68.28 and sold at 68.50. In hindsight, we still should be in. But what I will do via the 920 cross, if I see weakness and we're headed and we hit right to the, we may go down here because we were right to the 68.61, which is 68.63 was the New York close. So we got right to that close, which is recovering the entire gap, which was my initial thesis. If you'll see down here, my bias was bullish, and I thought we would fill the gap. So it's nice to be right, nice to be right on video. But I think that that may work as a. I was thinking the low may work as a rejection and a partial trace, but we've come up to 68.61. This crosses over here. You know, I may go short. However, if this wants to continue higher, based on some fairly good news that they're looking, Iran's looking to concede, we could get a trace back to this on the 5. This is where the nuances of you, you're there. There's always risk in trading. It's about probabilities. Okay, so you've got higher lows, higher highs. This comes back and creates a somewhere in this range and has another higher low, creates a higher high. That's what they call an uptrend. So, but since I'm an intraday scalper and short-term trader, I like to, capture small moves. If I think we're going to show some weakness off this 68.61 because we went back to the New York high, yeah, 68.61.50 is where we hit, and it looks like it wants to roll over. Yeah, it looks like that thing wants to roll over, guys. I'm gonna do a quick short contract. Here's what I'm gonna do, and this is what I would tell you guys. This is where you can take some risk when you're winning. You can get in. I got in at 68. I'm at 68.54 short. So I'm 68.54 short. Let's put this here, 68. 68, yeah, 68.54.50 short. So let's set this at a 20 point, and we'll set this at 10. That's what my OCO drops us. There we go, 10. Okay, so we are short at short 68.54. Now this is an aggressive play, guys. As you see, I just the 1 bar crossing. So the 1 minute cross is what I did my trade on. I do not recommend if you don't have a strong stomach, but since we have a win under our belt and we've got we can have a very tight stop loss on this. Our risk on this is low, and everything is about risk, man. Everything is about risk to reward, and you got to click the buttons. If you don't click the buttons, you can't you can't win. So using my 920 EMA Cross, I'm using the 1 minute. Now, if we get this, we could get a really big retrace all the way back down. I don't think we're going to, but if we retrace, a good portion of this move, if we can get, 20 points out of this thing, we get back down there. The reality is, if we got, 10 points out of this, a retracement, maybe 50% of this move, I think that would be success. But this is a risky trade. You see here, we went across, and now it wants to come back. But I'm not going to give it back. So I will protect myself since I've already made profit. Well, we're at 68, 54. So 68, 60, the high 68, 62. So we don't need to let this get all the way back there to 68, 62. We'll see. The news is good, but it's not great. And it looks like if this crosses down, what I really like to see, and this is another kind of nuance I like to share with you guys.
We're seeing from a Reuters reporter on X here, just confirming that the US Strait of Hormuz blockade started as of the top of the hour. That was around 15 minutes ago. So this was expected. We've had it on the calendar, but just confirmation that it has now gone ahead.
Wonderful news for our short. I don't know if you just heard that. So the Strait of Hormuz blockade is now in effect. So that's negative for any resolution, and now it's going in our favor. So this is where you need to be bold sometimes in taking the trade and trusting the system. Okay, so I went across, but even if you got in now, I still think this is going to go down. And I was trying to say earlier is the curvature matters, and that's kind of going to be, we're like this red or the 9 EMA, it's starting to flatten out. If this thing starts to turn downward, that really looks good for for the trade. So so I don't know. I need to alert the guys on Telegram. So yeah, we want to see this. We want to see this continue to show some weakness here on the. We want to obviously see the 1 minute coming down. Some other things you want to be aware of that are good signs. You've got these. I call them MC hammer candles. Anything you got a long wick, look at the one here. You got the long wick pushing down. That's showing that sellers are stepping in and want to push this thing down. So which is good for what we're doing here. I had a couple of people message me and tell me it's too simple. It doesn't. I mean, simplicity is that's why I love it. It is simple. The hard part is you got to have the courage to click the buttons when the cross happens, when the signals happen. And that's where I've been slow in the past. But But since I got a win, then my risk of taking on the 1 minute chart is a lot less because I'm not going to give back the entire win. And the reward could be, if this thing goes, we can get in. The earlier you get in, obviously, the bigger the bigger you can make, right? The more money you can make. So, but again, that's going down to a lot of nuances of money management. But I'll still make the trade, even if I had a break even or a losing trade on the first one. I still would have taken the position on that 1 minute cross. I would have waited for an additional candle close, and I probably would have gotten in on this, maybe this green one. So I wouldn't have been in so aggressively at 68, 54, but I probably would have gotten in here at 68, 52, 51, something like that. Anyway, just puts, a couple points is not going to make the difference in you winning or losing on that trade. But now that the blockade has gone in, how can that be good news? I'm not sure. But the market can be crazy. I mean, it wants to go back up. Oh, here's the other thing that's kind of nice. So the fear and greed index, that's for crypto's extreme fear. The regular stock market is in fear. So let's look at price of existing home sales. With that does affect the market as well. Where I am in the Midwest, those are good numbers. It looks like 4.9%. That's not terrible. Also, it's below though. So the existing home sales are actually 3.98 million. The forecast was 4.05, so it missed. So that's negative. Should be another negative for the market, which is good for a short. So it's been revised here, and we already saw that the Iranians want to abandon it. That's good news, but that we've put the blockade in place is bad news. So does the good news of them wanting to negotiate fight off the bad news of us actually putting the blockade in place? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, if I'm not talking to you guys, this is my friend, and I go through all this. I also watch other, videos or read or. Oh, wants a spike back here. Go on. We'll stay in. If this shows a lower high here at the 68.59, if we turn around and stay below that, I still think it's a short's good. But again, we're not going to get back all of our gains. I think, Blaine, you asked me, do I sit here and set alerts? Yeah, I don't set alerts. I manually trade, and I've got multiple platforms. Someone else asked me about, is this a good strategy for prop firms? It could be, but I don't prop firm trade. I trade just with my own money. The reason I don't like the prop firms, there are so many rules that they're built for you to fail. Those prop firms are built for you to fail. And I know that there's a lot of YouTube guys that, get these.
Which I'm posting now on Truth Social, saying Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated. In the post, he says, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will immediately be eliminated using the same system of kill that we're using against drug dealers on boats at the sea.
Okay, that can't be good news. If you did not hear that,
strength in WTI crude there is Trump again is just touting the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, saying that any ships that come close to the blockade will be eliminated.
that can't be good news. Okay. And he just posted it on Truth Social. So if you did not hear what the Swat Box guy said, is that Trump said any ships that go near our blockade will be treated like the drug ships that they've been blasting out of the water, and they will be destroyed if they go near our blockade. So this sounds like escalation from regarding this, and I can't imagine this is going to be a positive. Now, I mean, again, the market can go. You get bad news, and then the market can rip, 40 points. I don't know. I just I'm not a news trader typically, but I having this now, I'm aware of it. And when he makes a post and says something like this negative, how can the market think that that's a positive thing for any kind of resolution? I can't imagine that it is. That's just that's my 2 cents. But the market doesn't care what I think or what you think or what any of us think. So this sideways action you're seeing on the 1 minute is not what we want to see for the for a trending strategy. But it's okay. But when you're already in a trade, then you just you got to kind of roll with it. All right, all right. Let's see. Anything on the regular? This is not real time stuff. I'm not going to use that kind of. So kind of basing sideways here, guys. This is kind of watching paint dry here based on the 5 minute. Some of the nuances that I'm looking at is I think that the 68, 63, that we got back near that, the New York close. I think that's acting as some resistance. We got some negative news that's working against us. So I think they're or against the market. I think this Pretty indecisive right now, chopping back and forth. I look at so many things, guys. When you're looking at the trajectory of, obviously the 20 is going to move a lot slower. So this is still heading up. This, the 9 heading up is not a good sign for a short, but it's not moving fast. This 1 minute 9 kind of moving slowly up is also not a great sign. But I mean, we're going to get a little melt, but I can't imagine. We'll see if we bust below above the 68. Let's say 68, 62. Then I would be out of this because that's the high day so far. And I know we're only high days. Only the market's only been open 1 hour. Okay, it's one to head back up there, so we shall see. Thinking we may get some kind of double top up there, 68, 62, 68, 63. Sometimes it'll want to pierce back up just above the New York close, kind of just a quick liquidity sweep. And if it does that, then we're gonna be out at we're out at 68.54.50. So I'm putting a stop. If it takes us out, that only gives back a little bit of our profit. It gives back some of our profits. 68, 64. Yeah, we're in at 68, 54.50. So 68, 64.50. Yeah, it looks like we're getting kind of a double top here. I think we could head back down based on. I'm not a big configuration of head and shoulders and double tops, but if you're hitting resistance 2 times and it doesn't want to get through it, the more times it knocks at the door and doesn't get through, the more likely it's going to go in the opposite direction. Now, I mean, this thing could blow all the way through this. So we're at 68, 64.50 is where we have our stop. And if it goes against us, we have a small loss and a bigger win. That's the name of the game, guys.
Chinese state media reports that China's foreign minister held a call with their Pakistan counterpart.
If anyone's watching, it looks like we got 4 viewers here. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything you got. So
China's Foreign Minister says the current ceasefire is very fragile.
that's an understatement. China said the current ceasefire is fragile. Well, that's a just a quick recap. If if you're just joining us, we were in long and we took 22 points from the market on a win, and we're currently short at 68.54 on the 1 minute cross, which, as I told you, that's not for the faint of heart. It's the we got in an entry on the 1 minute cross. I use the term a lot. I think it doesn't matter what I think. Is I get I get in on what it is. I set the stop. There's the rules. I don't have to think. Once you're in, and you don't look back. You don't have remorse. You make the trade. You live with the results. That's it. I've learned that the hard way, and not to. Man, I've had trades that I've sat at night and go, "Wow, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this," and I don't do that anymore. Here's the rules. You know, I get in. Here's my stop. I set it. It wins. It wins. If it loses, it loses. I have an edge. This edge works out over time, and that's it. You have all you can have. This is a probability thing. You have an edge. You execute it consistently. That's the key. Consistently, and you don't waver from that. And then over time, your edge will play out. Your winners are bigger than your losers. Your frequency of winning is more prevalent than your losers. And that's it. Yeah, Daniel, good question. So what I'll do is right now I'm only in one contract.
From the top Black Sea port remain limited.
Okay, so if for those of you who don't know, in the background is a program called Financial Juice.
Exports from Russia's biggest Black Sea port are still limited, with its two largest berths yet to resume loadings after Ukrainian drone attacks last week.
Okay, so Russia's remaining limited. So here's Don. Let's look at. I'll answer your question in just a minute, Daniel. This is Trump Street, and this is why I love this Financial Juice, you guys. They tell you that Donald Trump tweeted it, then they post it. Any live news that could affect the market is this guy shares with you live. So Trump posted, Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated. 158 ships. We have not hit their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system to kill that we use against the drug. I'm not laughing at that. It's just, he's just, wow, he's just, it got to be, it is what it is. It is what it is. So anyway, I'm short. I don't see any good news coming out, and I'm not trading just news. For those of you who don't know, I traded this cross here. This is where we were crossing on the 1 minute, and I got in, at 68, 68.54. That's where I got in. So to answer your question, Daniel, when I have multiple contracts, there's two separate answers to your question there. When a trade gets up in my favor by 10 points, I move my stops immediately to break even. So in case there's some kind of wild Trump tweet, I do not want to let a winner turn into a loser. I'll set a couple points inside so it covers all the broker fees. Excuse me. So that's what I do. And what I'll typically do is when I have multi contracts, I will put one contract target at 20 points, and then and if I have two, three, four, whatever, if I have multiple contracts, but I move everything to break even so we can't lose. Having a no risk trade makes you feel good, and it's going to be a lot better. And then what I'll do is, if it's going in my direction, the 20, I'll set another contract at typically at 40. And if it hits that and it goes and hits that, it's wonderful. But if you see kind of wavering and you start basing around 10 or 20, I'll move the stop to 10 and guarantee myself another victory. That's just how I do it. And I'm okay taking 20 points out of the market, 20 points out of the market, 15 points out of the market, because my max risk is 10. So if I'm winning more than I lose, and on a percentage wise, and I'm winning more on the wins than I am the losses, the math works out, and it has.
Dharma says Iran's behavior in e-commerce is causing an untold economic damage.
So since 2021, this is the strategy I've been using, and this is how I manage my trades. I've was it pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, and I've been a hog and sometimes, and then I get slaughtered. The other thing, to answer your question, Daniel, is about, and I've had people criticize that I get up 10, I move my stops to break even, and then it comes.
Says, I'm working around the clock on a credible plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, this guy he's talking more than he normally does. So I've had people say you need to let a trade breathe, and I get it. But if a trade goes up in my favor 10 points, let's say on this short, this goes down, I'm in at 68.54, it goes down to 68.64. I'm going to move my stop to break even. Well, could it come back up and take me out and then go back down my direction? That's happened to me 100 times. And I have no remorse for that. And let me tell you why. Here's the worst thing that can happen to your trading psychology. And trust me, maybe it's not you, but this is the worst thing that can happen to my trading psychology, because when I've done this, I get gun shy and wary and want to take profit quick. Here's the worst thing that can happen. Let's just say this trade goes in my favor and it gets down to 28, it goes into my favor. 28.
Work with the French president to convene an international conference on the Strait of Hormuz.
This trade goes in my favor and it goes down 28, 44, right? Goes down to my favor, 28.44. I'm down. It's down here in my favor. I don't move my stop, so I'm in profit. I don't move my stop, and then it makes a reversal and comes all the way out. So instead of a 10-point winner, I get a 10-point loser. Turning a winner into a loser messes with my psychology more than I could ever imagine. I'll take break evens before I'll take a winning trade that I let turn into a losing trade. That's just, from my psychology, that's the way I roll. And other people, maybe they're stronger and they're okay. And I've seen guys out there that'll just let their stop sit and let it come run all the way back up their entry and all the way back and stop them out. I can't do it. That's just not who I am. I can't.
UK's PM Starmer.
Yeah, I can't do that. So I won't do that. Let's just
focus on diplomacy and military planning.
I could do it and choose not to do it. That's my. That's a long-winded answer of how talking about TPs and how that works, right? But this trade looks like it wants to go against me, and if it does, it does. So we, again, just to reiterate, we've got a stop set at 68, 64.50. What I would love to see here is a triple top rejection. The more times we tap near this thing, the more likely we are to go down. Both setups today, guys, have been, I would say, B setups, but I took the trades. Our first B setup got us a 22-point win. And right now we are, five points down, something like that. Yeah, so this one's going against us. We're in the red, which I don't like seeing, but it is what it is. But I don't think about it. The stop is set. If it goes and hits it, it hits it. we still have a winning day, and then we fight again. The initial it looks like it wants to go up though. It looks like it wants to take me out, which is fine. I'd like to see rejection right there. If that doesn't reject, then we're in trouble here. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go. You guys will hear it on the screen if it takes me out. Hoping for a triple top rejection here and then go back down, but it's not looking very promising for that. This is trajectory here. I don't like this either. These are all pointing north, way too north. Good thing, and I would like to see if we were going to go down, I'd like to see this CCI up here in this 2-300 range. Excuse me. I got to figure out maybe to find some kind of music or something to be able to play. I know that you guys just hearing me talk is boring. I hope you guys appreciate I'm transparent. A good, bad, or ugly, I'm going to tell you what happens and what's not happening. So if you guys are, if you look in the comments below, if you're not, I've got a Telegram channel. And if you're interested, when I make a trade or when I go live, I'll post in there and then I'll make the trade and I'll actually post the trade in there as well. If you're interested, it's not a big deal. I'll post it in the chat here too. If you want my PDF for free on how to trade this 920 EMA strategy, drop me an email and I'll email it to you. I think hold on a second here. Oh, hey Cube, I just saw your question here. So yeah, I'll explain. I'll explain both trades that I did today. So this is our second trade of the day. So our first trade was a good winner. We actually here when we retraced to here. First of all, let's review. If you're not familiar with the 920 EMA Cross strategy, the blue line is the 9. The fat line, I use the fancy one that's red when it's going down and green when it's going up. This is the 20 EMA. So the strategy is when the blue line crosses the 20, you go long. I missed it this morning, taking my kids to school and everything. So when I logged on after the market, 1330 is the market open here, I got in at 68.28. I got in at 68.28, and then we were able to. I was in at 68.28, and then we got out at 68.50. So we got 22 point win. Now the current short that I'm in, which is a riskier play, is I got in as this was crossing on the 1 minute, and I don't recommend if you're a new trader that you get in on the 1 minute trade. I already had a good winning trade. I'm taking a little more risk. The probability is it's going to go back down. It went in my favor. I could have taken a few points. I didn't. I left my stop because I still think And the logic to this is this retraced the entire gap. And if you look at it retraced this entire gap. So the Asia last night that I traded, this gap was a 93-point drop. And the close on Friday was 68.63. This move today, last night with Asia and today, has retraced that entire almost, we're at 68.63. It retraced the entire gap. So besides the 1 minute cross, I think the 68.63 is going to work as a resistance. So that's why I went short. I already have some money in the bank because I have a winning trade. I used the 1 minute cross. I set a 10-point stop. And again, if you want to see my PDF, I show you all of my rules and I do not deviate from them. And now that I've seen 3 taps, 1, 2, 3 taps near this, I think this thing wants to go back down. So does that answer your question, Cube? I like to see the curvature going down here. I like this. I want this 1 minute really to cross. There's a battle going on here. Do you trade, Cube? Are you a trader? Oh, that's all right. This is a great strategy for beginners. I recommend that you really, if you're a beginner, that you really only trade you only take the signals on the 5 minute. 1 minute, you can get some bigger hits, but you can also get a lot more fake outs. I mean, you see here, we're zipping right here. If you had just gotten in on this 5 minute, you would still be in the trade that I was in earlier. So you would have crossed here. You would have crossed here on this 5 minute, right? Let's just say you were even conservative. You got in at 68.22. You'd still have you'd be up huge just on the 5 minute alone. So I really recommend for new traders that you just trade this 5 minute if you're starting. That's that's what I did. I did that for a year and a half where I only traded just the 5 minute. I had the 1 minute up, but I actually used the 15 minute as my long term, and I used the 5 minute as my entry for it. And I did that for quite a while, and that worked. I mean that works. I mean, you have some bigger moves, but you had to have your stops kind of can get popped. It looks like this thing wants to take me out, and if it takes me out, we still have a winning day. I'm not that worried about it. But again, I told you this was a B setup that I went after, and I can't imagine with all the news that this should be good. But this is trading. So even if we get taken out here, we're still up 12 points on the day, and the end game is to win, and that's it. So this is about to take me out. I'm at 68, 64, 50. So it's like 2 points of of taking me out. Oh, that's going to take me out. Here we go. Ouch. But yeah, I tell you, just trade on the 5 minute. You stay on the 5 minute. It's not as noisy. I'm more of a scalper, and if I had multiple contracts, I would still be in on the 5 minute chart. But I only did one contract on the long this morning. But when you get one in the bank, a win in the bank, you get 22 points in the bank, then you can take more risk on you can take more risk than you would normally. And some of my big trades has been on a 1 minute entry, but I will not take it really aggressively on the 1 minute entry until I've banked some profits. You know, capital preservation is the number one thing. And that's where if you don't start there, then you're gonna have problems. But this does not look. You see this up these higher highs and lower lows. That's not good for a short on the 1 minute. And this is also, I heard somebody call it the hitchhiker strategy, which I thought was really cool. Because if the 9 is going up, your price is just hitchhiking up with the 9. And so the hitchhiker strategy I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, if you're new, Cube, just use the 5 minute. And if you guys see my email there, if you drop me an email, I'll send you the PDF of how I trade this. But this is definitely going to take me out. This wants to go higher highs and higher lows. That's typical hitchhiker strategy. Now, when you just gotta just trade the plan the trade, and trade the plan, and then whatever it is, you got to stick with it, and just you got to eat a big pile of it. So if you're trading a micro, let's talk about what today looks like so far. So if you're trading a micro, and you're doing a 10-point risk, you're going to hear my stop get here in just a second. I want you guys to hear that. So I'm completely transparent, good, bad, or ugly. That's what happens. Um, if you're trading a micro, 10 points is $50. So I may, if you're trading micro, 22 points is 100 and yeah, the stop field. So trading micro is 22 points is like $115, something like that. So this we have. But this thing wants to run back all the way. So we lost 10 points here. So we're plus 12 on the day. And this is why we do not move. We do not move our stops, because you got to set it where you just got to take your lumps here. So the thing I should have done here is exactly what I did. You set it for 10, you take your medicine, you lose 10. So going back to this, if I had got in here and just stayed in this, I would just be grinding up all day. And typically I will trade. Cube, no, I don't trade prop firms. I mentioned that earlier. I've never, and I've had people ask me, does this work for prop firms? The prop firms have so many rules, and they're all designed for you to fail so they can make money. So I don't. It's can this work for that? Yeah, if you're very disciplined, this is I believe it could be a very good strategy for a prop firm. That's what I think. So I mean, this is a trending strategy. So if you're in a prop firm and you got in here at 68, you got at 68, whatever, 68.19, somewhere in here, 68.19. I mean, you'd be 68. I mean, you're up 40 points. You know, these are huge numbers. And I still should have been in this on my previous trade. But I don't look back, we're still plus. You know, we're plus on the day, and there's the goal, right? I've had people ask me what size do I trade with. I don't like to share that, and I don't like to influence people with my trade size. I'm only going to make references to micro contracts, which is the MES. And if you don't have a broker, I suggest that you trade micros, especially to start. Here's the difference in here, I'll show you real quick. So if you're looking at let's just say we went long here, and let's say we got in, what I say, 68. Let's just say we got a 68.20. So if we're going long and you're trading a regular, that's a 46-point move. That's a gigantor. And if you're risking, let's see, if we're risking, if you're doing an ES, 10 points, if you're doing just a mini, 10 points is $500. Now, the beautiful thing is you would have made, on this trade, you would have made $2,000 on a mini. These are huge. You would have made $21.92 on a mini. But you're risking $500 for 10 points. So if that's not in your wheelhouse, then you're going to trade micros, because micros are 10% of a mini. So 10 points is $50. So the beautiful thing is, if you want to start trading with more size, then you trade 2 contracts, 3 contracts, 5 contracts. You can get to where you trade 5 micros. 10 points is a $250 risk. I mean, it's you can get to where you're doing the same thing. Now, if you get to where your account's big enough and you can risk 500, then then trade the minis. But I don't. That's going to be based on your account size, your experience, and lots of different things. So I hope that helps. Yeah, prop firms. I probably should be more knowledgeable in that to be able to help people. But the stories I've seen and I've heard, and I know there's dudes that, there's one dude on YouTube, and you guys have probably all seen him. He's gotten the largest prop firm payout in the history of the world, like $2 million or something. And then that's amazing. But there's 100 prop firms out there. And the reason there's 100 out there is because they're all making money. And the reason they're all making money is because they're designed for you to lose. So if it costs you $50 or $100, and I had a guy message me that he said he's blown, whether it's $50 or $100, he said he's blown 50 accounts. So, I mean, 50 is a lot, 50 times 50, that's $2,500 that he blew. So if you got, I don't know, it's just the prop firms is not my jam. And I probably should be more helpful to people in that, but it's not my jam. So what did I say? The high from the close in New York was 68.63. That was the close on Friday, and we popped up to 68.68. That might have been a liquidity sweep. And take us down. I'm gonna wait for a better confirmation. Looks like the one is wanting to cross again. I mean, I'm not afraid to go short again. But this is my concern. The 5-minute it just keeps coming down, tapping the 9. If I see this the 9 start to flatten out here, then I would be more likely to want to go short again. But again, if you're new, I don't recommend doing this. Okay, I went short again on this cross. And I am going to put a very tight leash on this one. We're not going to risk more than a few points here. These are very aggressive, guys. Don't do this if you're new. So you can see the fake outs. Is it kind of wanted to cross here? If I would have gone there, this was a good one. I could have taken, but it didn't go down 10 points, so it didn't follow my rules for a break even. So I think that if this cross goes through here, I see on the 5-minute that the 9 is flattening out, and we start to see a curvature down, then it can go in our favor. But again, this is what I would call a B plus setup. Okay. We're in at 68.61 short. Again, risky trade, guys. Risky trade. We're at 68.61 flat. $30 points would be nice. Yeah, sitting on your hands would be the best play in this. This is again, aggressive play. I'm not going to give back all my money here. The other news, I don't normally trade news, but my goodness, bad news coming regarding the Iran stuff. But again, sometimes the market just doesn't care. It wants to go. It wants to go. It wants to go. So. Candle close. Or yeah, depends. If it's retracing back to the 9, either one. The better confirmation, the safer. Let me rephrase that. The safer confirmation is a candle close. Uh, Again, I'm working with a low profit here, and I'm being aggressive, and I'm trading not just this this move, but man, and I'm not a news trader typically, but man, there's nothing but bad news. But this thing, it wants to go back up. So the worst thing that not it's not the worst thing to have break even days, and if we just stuck with the five, and sometimes my aggressiveness on the one will work, but majority of the times, and I would tell you for the new guys, I want to continue to hammer this home. If you just follow the 5 minute, your life is going to be easier and better, and long term, you'll have consistent trades. You won't hit as many home runs, but you will have consistency wins. And if you were trading a prop firm, Daniel, then I would tell you just trade the 5 cross. That's going to be your safest play. And again, if you guys want to get a copy of the PDF, if you want to be, please like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Please do so. It really helps us out, and so it can get out to more people. There's my email if you want to get a copy of the trading guide for this strategy. I'll send it to you. It's not fancy. I just made it in a PDF. No charge. Just send me a message, and I'm also on join me on Telegram if you want. I can I post all the trades in there, and wins, losses, whatever what's happening, and I'm in at 68.62. I'm in at 68.62.75. I think we need to get it exactly. Close enough. 68.62. So we're right at entry here. So we'll clean up our screen a little bit here. So the low, Friday's low was a 68.46. We blew back through that. We recovered the whole. Let me get rid of some of these. So the the high from pre-market on Friday is 68.89. So if this thing crawls back up there, I'm hoping we go short first and get me out of this thing. But if we go back to this high, there should be some strong resistance here because we never even got back. That was pre-market, and that's why I put the time. April Friday was 8:30 a.m. That was pre-market high, and I shorted on Friday and had some good wins. I shorted last night on the Asian market, and I got 20 plus points, and then I got a second trade of I think 15 points. So we took like 35 points out of the market last night. We're up as we sit here now. We're up 12, but we're in an ominous position of we need this thing to go down. If you guys have not seen, this is a product I recommend. It's about 20 bucks a month. It's called Financial Juice. It's a squawk box, and it gives you real time data. If Trump tweets, bad news comes, good news comes. It's an extremely cool tool. All right, so we're short 68.62. It looks like it finally looking like we might get a rollover here. The 1 minute can help be leading, but you can see all these fake outs here. What we really need to see is the 5 minute, which is it's starting to flatten out, which is a good sign, and starting to curl over. I got this set at 20 points. Again, the kind of the rules is once a trade goes in my favor 10 points, I move the stop to break even, so I do not lose. Actually, a couple points inside break even, so it covers any broker fees. That's my rule. And I think I covered the trading psychology earlier. Letting a winner turn into a loser just wrecks me mentally, so I don't do it. Anyone else in a trade that's on here right now? Yeah, Daniel, I'll just go and market, but sometimes I won't. Sometimes if here's a good example. Today I just market ordered in, but if I see this 5 minute and I didn't market order on this first 68.28, I actually set a market when it came back down to me here. When this is coming up here, it retrace. I actually set a market order or I set a entry order, and it came down, wicked me in, and then went in my direction. So, but typically I'll just market order in because I mean it's plus. The nice thing about the S&P 500, another reason I trade this, it's so big, it's so liquid. You're not going to get any slippage really on a market order. If you're market ordering a stock or something, I mean your spreads can be it can be big. You can get hurt, and it can be the difference between profit and loss. But we don't have I don't with the S&P. It's such a liquid instrument and it's so huge that I don't stress it. I just mark it in or mark it out. Well, I set the targets for my out, but I mean, I'll also mark it out if I see it going. If I go down it and I didn't have a target set, I always have a profit target set because if you get weird wicks, I want to be out, and I want to. I mean, I've had it where the wicks go down in my favor, just wham, hit me, and then goes back up, in the direction away from you. But if you didn't have a stop, if you didn't have a target set, then you're not going to enjoy that. So, now we're watching paint dry now, guys. But if any questions on the strategy or any questions on what I do, feel free to fire them out. When we're going slow motion here, I can answer any questions you guys have. I'm liking seeing the 9 on the 5 minute approaching the 20. I would love to see this cross. It's starting to go in our favor. I'd like to see Trump tweet something negative so everyone can freak out. And again, if you guys have Trump threatening to, they said the Iran's entire navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, obliterated. So the armada that we have there, the blockade that's executing the blockade is in order right now. Apparently, it's being enforced. So, which that can't be good. Let's look at oil real quick. Look at here on the 1 minute. Yeah, oil's climbing steadily. If the market, if we get some negative down, then oil's going to continue. I mean, oil has to climb because if he's going to, you got an armada there that's blocking everything. Nobody's going to be able to ship oil. Iran, nobody, nothing's moving. So the price of oil is going to continue to go up. And I'll trade oil once in a while, guys. When we get a big drop, if I missed a drop or a rise in the S&P, oil moves counter to that. So I'll jump into an oil trade here and there. All right, I'm liking to see that. I'll be okay with a nice slow grind down. And we can get rid of the New York low Friday since we already blew through that thing. We need that 9 to cross on the 5 minute. We need that 9 to go down across that. Looks like we're having a little battle going on here. I'm gonna grab more coffee. I'll be back. If you guys could get the market to go down to 68.41 range or somewhere in that range while I'm gone, that'd be great. All right. Slow moving, but looks like we want to roll over, which is good. My format, I try to keep everything on the screen, so even if people join late, they can see what's happening in the trades today that I've made. Here's my indicators that I use. Excuse me. And we went in on this cross at the 68.62 short. Is there anyone else in the trade right now that's not logged on here? Yeah, so according to the news here, U.S. stock markets recovered while oil still over 100. Trump ordered a blockade. Excuse me. I mean, that can't be positive, but all this other stuff is just bond yields. That's kind of big news there. But Saudi royal family says a ground invasion like Iraq may be necessary. We can't do that. So senior U.S. official, U.S. blockade more than 15 U.S. warships in place to support the operation. Oh, that's escalating. It's so all of our people left the negotiation. So there's nobody. We're not still there trying to negotiate this deal or anything, but there's good and bad in slow moving markets like this. So if you're a new trader, then you want slow, because when you get rips, 1 minute candles that go 30 points, that makes you gun shy. So this is trading like the Asian session. Asian session is pretty slow typically. This is pretty slow. I mean, you'll get some good, few point pushes on this. I really want to see this thing reject on the 5 minute off that 20. And off the 1 minute off the 20, a rejection would be nice either way. But it looks like the buyers are trying to step in and save this thing. But well, can't imagine who's wanted to buy this given everything that's going on, but that's why we trade. Uh-oh, that's not good. That's a big candle going against us. It looks like buyers are trying to step in here. Like I said, I've got a tight leash on this one. I'm not giving back all my profit for today. These are tough days. It's a tough day for any strategy if you're in this. I mean, unless trending strategy would still be your play if we got in early on this on the open. So 1330 is the open here. If you got in on this, even if you got in on a retrace, it's 68.43. You'd still be in the money. Not much, but I mean, you're still in the money. I mean, you're 17, 15, 17 points. If you got in pre-market and just stayed in, you had a real nice run up. But again, we're plus 12 points on the day. We've got a stop set, so the worst case we would still be up a few points. We're not giving it all back. That's capital preservation is my number one rule. I like seeing the pressure on the 1 minute candle with this big wick going up and the push down. So the sellers are trying to step in, but the buyers are stepping right back in and trying to battle back. So we'll see. This big green candle on the you had a wick on this on the bottom of the five on that red candle, little hammer there. That's showing some buying pressure stepping in, but see if the sellers can get in there and push this thing back down where it needs to go. If anyone in there, anyone that's on or logged on, can you tell me how you found me? I'm really trying to share the strategy with more people, and I'm not a big YouTube guy, and I don't even know how all this stuff works. So you can tell me how you found me. That would be cool. That'd be helpful. This is not looking like it wants to go down at this time, folks. Also, YouTube suggestions just pop me up. Okay. Just a little background. I've been trading this strategy for 5 years, and I have been profitable for five since I went to this strategy primarily. I have been a consistently profitable trader. I have not had a losing month in 5 years. Matter of fact, I've only had probably I can't even. I'm just a handful of losing weeks in 5 years. But the this was a good strategy. I say for beginners, but for advanced traders as well. There are big firms that trade this. The guys at S&B Capital. There's the guy that trades a nine, which is in essence the same strategy I'm trading. He just has a little different rules. Um, that guy trades millions of dollars with just using the 9 EMA and the VWAP confluence. So I mean that's anyone got any questions on the execution or candles or how I my entries or anything? You're more than welcome to message them there, and I can answer you while we're going fairly slow. It looks like we want it to go in our favor. It looks like it's going down. We want it to go down. I don't want to speak for all of us. I wanted to go down since I'm short. That 9 trying to cross, the 9 right here trying to cross on the this 20. This would be a good sign. I think we can get down here. I think we can retrace to 68.44. Pretty easy. 42 somewhere around in this range, and get me my 20 points. Yeah, that's easy. Over, I was looking at that earlier. I journal all of my trades, and what I don't include, I have a lot of break even trades. I do not include them in my win percentage. So from a win percentage, I am just about 65% win rate on this strategy. Okay, my average, I do a 2-to-1 minimum of risk to reward. So even if it was 1-to-1 and I was 65%, it would be a winning strategy. But because my wins, like today, you can see here, I won 22 points. I've lost 10 points, and right now we're in the money, a few points. That overall, the management of this. So how profitable a strategy is going to be your execution, and your trade management is going to be uh, the best piece of you learning how to do that. So okay, so your question is if you're risking 5. Well, let's do it real quick. I can show you here. Let's put this out of here. There's the indicators we use. So let's use if you're using, and there's a lot of people that'll tell you if you got a $5,000 account, right? They say only risk 1.5 to 2%. So if you got a $5,000 account times 2%, that's $100 risk, right? So 2% equals $100 risk per trade. That's a good. I think you got to go with at least 2%. That's me. But if you're new, go with 1%. Go with $50 per trade. So 1% is $50 per trade. And with the MES, which is the micro, 10 points equals $50. So do your math. If you want to do your math based on that, of what your risk reward could be and all that good stuff, just use, I set 10 points. You can see on the screen here is everything is set. When I enter a trade, 10 points is my max that I can lose. Okay. And I always set the target for 20. And do I always hit that? No, I don't always hit that. But when it gets to 10 points, I move my stop to break even and I cannot lose on that trade. So does that help, Cube? So just today, 22 points equals like $115. Minus 10 points equals minus $50. So on the day, if you're trading one contract, we are plus $65, right? Plus 65. So now, obviously, if you're risking $100 per trade, so 2 micros, then it would be double this, right? So you would have 230 in profit and 100 in loss, and you'd still be up $130. This is where you're when you start to size up a little bit, this is where the numbers can compound and get significant. And that's why I don't share with anybody what they should trade, or I don't trade. I don't want to ever influence anybody on what size I trade. I'll talk about contracts, and I want to assume that everything is a micro, and I think that's how you should trade too, especially if you're new. If you got a $5,000 account, you for sure want to trade micros. Excuse me, guys. I got to take this call. Hey, Jim. I'm good, brother. How are you? Yeah. I was wanting to possibly meet you there and just get. If I was looking to possibly sell this thing in the future, I don't know what the current value is on that thing, and maybe wanted to meet you over there and walk around and get your 2 cents, tell you what I've done and all that good stuff. Can we meet there late? Huh? Can we meet there later this afternoon? What's your day look like? Tomorrow afternoon is best if you're available. Okay. Okay. Well, mornings are no. I mean, if it's after 5 is okay with me. It's up. After 5 today or if. No, that's all right. It's important. It's just not that urgent. But yeah, mornings are not good. No. Yeah, so afternoon's better. Around 4 o'clock is fine. Sounds good. All right, thank you, sir. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, yeah, okay, Cube. I'm glad that helps. Yeah, that's the simple. I say simple math, but your risk to reward is uh, the one thing, and you guys have watched like a 9 billion YouTube videos going, oh, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1. Hey, listen, something's going against me. Do I want to let it come all the way back? I'll take 10 points, and then if it goes in my favor, and I would have missed some. But that's why multi contracts, and that is money management, is how I've really made. This is how I've gotten profitable. Is I trade multiple contracts. I'll take one at 20, and even if that thing rips down, I'll set one at 30 or 40. And if I have more contracts, I'll set the other one to break even. And if it's continuing trending, I'll let that thing run and run and run. And I may stay in overnight. It's very rare. I wish I would have stayed in Friday because I thought bad news was coming. And boy, did it come. Um, we had a 90. If I would have been short, and it shoulda, woulda, coulda. If I would have stayed short on Friday, you had just two contracts. That would have been $1,000 trade immediately on the open on Sunday night because it dropped 95, nearly $1,000. Anyway, you can look back. I've hit a couple of those, but that's also very risky. So, oh yeah, I probably should have put myself on mute, but that's all right. I was just talking to. There's no critical information. Just set an appointment with a guy. Are you in a trade, Cube, or no? Oh no, that's okay. Yep, no worries. Take care. Have a good day. All right, hey guys, I'm gonna log off. I'm still in a trade. We're up right now on this trade as I'm getting out, but I've been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes, so I'm gonna log off and I will give you an update on this trade. It looks like it wants to go down. We're just kind of looking, hopefully a slow melt south, and we will go from there. But if you have, again, I'll leave you if anyone is here and they're listening or we watch the recording. If you look in the comments, you can reach me at drop me an email at bighappytradingfreedom@gmail.com or log on to Telegram and message me. Hey, hey Blaine, you take care, brother. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.